1943, the Battle of Kursk became the largest tank battle in history. Thousands of tanks fought in relentless mechanized combat, leaving the battlefield strewn with wreckage. The Soviets emerged victorious, but the price was staggering. Hundreds of thousands of lives were lost. In 1939, following a pact with Nazi Germany, the Soviets invaded eastern Poland. This occupation resulted in mass arrests, deportations, and the brutal Katyn massacre, where thousands of Polish officers were executed, a grim chapter of World War II that is often overshadowed by other events. In 1945, as Soviet forces captured Berlin, an estimated 100,000 to 2 million German women were victims of mass rape. These atrocities inflicted physical and emotional scars that lasted a lifetime. It remains one of World War II's most horrifying and least discussed tragedies. In 1942, the Soviets launched Operation Mars against the German Ninth Army in the Rzhev salient. The result was catastrophic. Tens of thousands of Soviet troops lost their lives for little to no gain. It stands as a grim reminder of war's brutal cost and failed strategies. Between 1941 and 1945, millions of Soviet prisoners of war endured brutal deletion marches under Nazi captivity. Starvation, exposure, and unaliving claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Those who survived bore the scars of unimaginable cruelty and profound loss. During World War II, millions were imprisoned in Soviet gulags, which were forced labor camps marked by starvation, brutal cold, and constant deletions. Prisoners toiled in mines and built railroads under inhumane conditions. Survival was rare, and freedom was nearly impossible. But I have to wonder, how did the world let such a nightmare continue? The Battle of Rzhev, which lasted from 1942 to 1943, was among World War II's bloodiest confrontations. Soviet forces endured staggering losses on a narrow front, facing brutal conditions for minimal gains. Known as the Rzhev meat grinder, it stands as a grim reminder of war's devastating cost. Do you think it is rarely discussed in today's society? Let me know below. In 1941, Kiev fell during one of history's largest encirclements. Over 600,000 Soviet soldiers were captured by German forces, with most perishing in brutal prisoners of war camps from starvation and neglect. This immense loss marked a dark and grim chapter of World War II's Eastern Front. In 1941, the Soviet hospital ship Armenia was bombed by German planes in the Black Sea while carrying wounded soldiers and civilians. Over 5,000 lives were lost in one of history's deadliest maritime disasters. This terrible tragedy has remained a symbol of war's relentless toll.